dog is saving a person." The dog dragged a drowning boy to the shore. Hearing the boy still had a heartbeat, he used his mouth to unbutton the boy's shirt and began performing chest compressions. But he wasn't strong enough, so the dog ran up a wooden bridge, picked up speed, and leapt from the highest point. The boy was saved. Knowing the boy was weak, the dog caught a fish from the river and brought it back. The boy was grateful, and so, the dog was adopted by the boy. He was named Little Yellow. He was very smart. He learned to skateboard just by watching twice. Little Yellow loved reading magazines, and was also great at video games. When the boy did his homework, Little Yellow would crouch down beside him. When the boy went fishing, Little Yellow sat quietly listening to music. Their bond was strong. Sometimes, Little Yellow was mischievous. He'd hide on purpose, making the boy look for him. The boy became anxious and raised his voice a bit. Little Yellow realized he was wrong. One day, the boy's father had a job transfer. The whole family packed up, ready to leave. But Little Yellow had gotten drunk the night before, on a date with the poodle next door. He had prepared flowers and champagne, and invited her to the doghouse. The next morning, when he sobered up, he saw the family car driving away. He chased it out of town, but couldn't catch up. He stood there exhausted, waited all afternoon, causing a traffic jam. A traffic officer walked up, smelled the alcohol, and drew a line on the ground, to see if he could walk in a straight line, trying to prove he was sober. Little Yellow walked straight to the officer, but still got a ticket. After resting, he continued along the road. Finally, he smelled a familiar scent on a pole. The boy, afraid Little Yellow would get lost, had left his scent along the way. Following the scent, Little Yellow had no water or food. He started hallucinating and eventually collapsed by the roadside. A passerby took him home, but the man turned out to be a dog dealer, specializing in picking up strays and turning them into dog meat sausages. The dog dealer locked him in a cage. Other dogs, curious, pulled out mirrors to look at the unlucky new guy, but Little Yellow didn't want to stay. He wanted to escape. He began digging a hole in the ground. His companions used mirrors to keep watch. When someone approached, they signaled him immediately. He quickly covered the hole with a cloth. After the dealer left, he crawled out of the tunnel, unlocked all the cages, and led the dogs to freedom. The dealer, hearing barking, came outside and was stunned. A group of dogs had surrounded him. Little Yellow locked them inside the cages. He took the steering wheel, while other dogs pushed from behind. The engine started. He jumped off the car and taught the dealer a lesson. His intelligence and bravery quickly earned him respect in the dog pack. They followed Little Yellow faithfully. At a fork in the road, he paused. He knew he had to find his owner. He said goodbye to his dog friends, who saw him off. At night, after a whole day without food, Little Yellow searched for food in the trash. Then, he was captured by two men. There were guns in their car. He realized they were dangerous. They had kidnapped people. At night, while the kidnappers slept, he quietly escaped through a window and ran to a phone booth to call the police. He tapped the phone rhythmically. The police recognized it as Morse code, and a female officer began decoding it with paper and pen. They located the phone booth. He returned to the car and released the hostages, but one of the kidnappers woke up. He told the girl to run, and began fighting the man, but he was no match. He surrendered. Just then, the police arrived and surrounded the kidnappers. One of them pointed a gun at Little Yellow's head to threaten the police. The officers, seeing there were no hostages, just a dog, opened fire. Luckily, the kidnapper surrendered and was arrested. Little Yellow's bravery was reported by the media, and the rescued family took him in and cared for him. But one day, he received a court summons. The two kidnappers had framed him as the real culprit, and brought a lawyer to confront him in court. The opposing lawyer tried to frame him, claiming they found his feces at the crime scene, and accused him of kidnapping the family, and blaming the two kidnappers. Faced with false accusations, Little Yellow could only admit guilt. He was imprisoned. His cellmate was a man with glasses. After talking, they planned an escape. Little Yellow started digging in the corner. The man with glasses kept watch at the door. Late at night, the man disguised the exit, crawled out through the tunnel to the prison yard, helped Little Yellow over the wall, then threw a rope outside. Little Yellow pulled the man up with the rope. They escaped and said goodbye. Little Yellow continued searching for his boy. He finally found his owner's new home. Seeing the boy, he ran up excitedly, only to find the boy already had a new dog. He realized he was no longer needed. Heartbroken, he left. He wandered the roads, homeless. Hungry, he begged outside a restaurant, but was ignored. He searched the trash for food. Suddenly, a chef appeared, brought him to the kitchen, and let him wash dishes. A few hours later, the plates were spotless. He left the kitchen, but as soon as he stepped outside, he was caught by two men, the same ones who had framed him. Just then, the boy appeared, crashing his bike into the kidnappers. They fought. The boy told Little Yellow to run. Eventually, the boy was tied up in a warehouse, but Little Yellow didn't give up. He fought the kidnappers again. They were furious this time, and tied him to a post with a time bomb. When they left, they threw a cigarette into the ruins, setting a fire. He broke free from the rope. The boy saw a fire alarm button on the wall, and asked Little Yellow to press it. But seeing the flames, Little Yellow was scared and backed away. Then he saw the boy faint. He knew he had to act. Without hesitation, he leapt through the flames and pressed the button. Firefighters arrived and rescued the boy. The boy told them there was a bomb in a nearby box. They knocked it over. Little Yellow found the bomb quickly, gripped it in his mouth, and ran. It exploded not far away. The boy couldn't believe Little Yellow was gone. He passed out. When he woke up, a doctor brought him to a hospital room. Surrounded by people Little Yellow had helped. The curtain was pulled open. Little Yellow lay on the bed, both legs injured, but miraculously, still alive. If you have a dog, please treat it well, because it may be the most loyal friend you'll ever have.